A lot has happened in the last week of cricket. India lost to New Zealand for the first time at home. Zimbabwe has gone on and scored the highest score in a T20 game. But there's also a lot of other things that we are going to cover in this episode.
There's a lot of cricket that goes on around the world during the week, so we've decided to have a recap and release that every Monday mornings for you to listen and watch. And it's not just going to be on the field stuff like we usually do on Tuesdays and Fridays. If you haven't subscribed to us already, do that. But this is also going to focus on off the field stuff, off the field gossip that you might listen to and want to hear more about.
Now, the first thing on the list obviously is India's loss at home for the first time in 12 years, and they've lost the Test series to New Zealand. Very disappointing. We made a lot of reels and shorts, so go check it out. But all in all, it was a very disappointing loss for the Indian team. Lots to go back to the drawing board and have a look at, especially with this Gautam Gambhir era of coaching. Everything seems to be going off right now.
Now, someone that India missed on the field was Mohammad Shami, and he did talk about how he's pain-free now and wants to be back in the Australia squad. Although the BGT squad was announced, he is still eyeing for a comeback. His idea of going about this is to play 2 Ranji matches, prove his fitness, pick up a couple of wickets, and he hopes that this proves to the selectors that he is good enough to go to Australia. And on a happy note, before the second test started, Sarfaraz Khan became a dad.
Now, just slightly up north from here in Pakistan, they came back and won the series against England. Of course, they were 1-0 down in this test series, and they came back to win the series 2-1. They dominated with spin. In fact, in the third test match, all 20 wickets were taken by the spinners of Pakistan.
Even though Pakistan won their home series for the first time since 2021, there seems like a lot of turmoil with Pakistan cricket. Jason Gillespie, who's currently the Pakistan coach, was very candid in a recent interview about how his role as the coach has slimmed down from what it was promised to be. He was supposed to be part of the selection committee or at least have more opinions. Now, in his tenure, there's already been 2 selection committee changes, and he's not really happy with that. There's also been a lot of miscommunication. Something that he's emphasized on with the first selection committee was having solid communication, but it seems like he's lost on that too. At this point, he's just currently focusing on the players because he still cares about the team and the players, and he's focusing on their development. Interestingly, he still continues to back Babar Azam. Speaking of Babar Azam, who stepped down from the ODI captaincy, Rizwan is now the Pakistan ODI captain. He's known to be someone who finds potential from bowlers that are called mid. And also, it'll be interesting to see how he goes about his Pakistan ODI captaincy.
And of course, on the South Africa versus Bangladesh test match, South Africa have won that test match. Kagiso Rabada got to 300 test wickets. He's the fastest bowler to do so by virtue of number of balls. He took all of 11,817 deliveries to get there, which is the fastest in the world. And now moving straight to the USA, Nepal had a series against the USA, T20I series, and they whitewashed the USA team 3-0. This is only the second time they're doing this against a full member nation, and the first instance of this was also in the year 2024 itself against Canada.
Now, after the 3-0 loss, the USA coach Stuart Law was axed just after being appointed 7 months before, and he wasn't axed because of the loss but because of the things that were going on in the dressing room. He was allegedly biased towards a certain player. He did not like the captain, Manang Patel. They had a lot of riff going on. There's a lot of news within that too. We don't want to go into it and talk much about it because these are just allegations and not much has been confirmed.
This week also saw the highest ever T20I score being recorded. It was Zimbabwe getting to 344 for 4 against Gambia. And of course, this innings once again was powered by none other than Sikandar Raza, who got a brilliant century, something that he's been doing consistently now for the Zimbabweans.
Talking about T20 cricket, let's get back to India and talk about the IPL. KL Rahul followed Mumbai Indians on Instagram. Interestingly enough, he doesn't follow any other franchise on Instagram. This might be a hint or might not, because it also seems like he wants to go to the RCB. There's a lot of rumors going around, but this is what happened.
And completely flipping it around from T20 cricket to first class cricket, we saw an absolute blockathon in one of the Ranji games. Now, Punjab had Madhya Pradesh 8 down in just 48.5 overs, and with 25 overs remaining in the day, it seemed that Madhya Pradesh was definitely going to lose the match. But their captain Himanshu Mantri came out and played a solid knock. He batted all of 225 balls, remained not out, and along with Avesh Khan, who batted 60 balls. These guys were able to save the match, play out 25 overs, and lead Madhya Pradesh to a draw.
Sticking to first class cricket, we all know Prithvi Shaw got dropped from the Mumbai squad this week because of misconduct, and this decision was made by the Mumbai selection committee and the captain of Mumbai. It seems like they want Prithvi Shaw to work on his fitness, but not only that, it also seems like there are times when Prithvi Shaw doesn't turn up to practice, doesn't work on things that he needs to, and according to the news, he takes things lightly when he's not supposed to.
And in the Ranji Trophy game between Tamil Nadu and Delhi, Tamil Nadu came out and absolutely dominated Delhi, but in particular, Washington Sundar's returns were amazing. He got 152, got 6 wickets in the game. We've also spoken about this. Obviously, he got selected for the test squad after that, and it seems that that match alone, along with his few performances earlier on, have also enabled him to get selected for the BGT itself. And of course, in another interesting Ranji game, Gujarat were chasing 144 against Andhra Pradesh, and they were reduced to 69 for 6, and it looked like they were going to completely lose that match, but they went on to get that 144 and chase the target down.
Not only that, but during this week, the India A squad was announced. It was announced that Rituraj Gaikwad will be the captain while Abhimanyu Ishwaran will be the vice captain. There seems to be a change in the squad because Yash Dayal is also going to South Africa while his name is also in the India A squad. But the 2 series is lap. So we are assuming that Yash Dayal is now going to South Africa with the T20 squad because that was also announced this week.
And while we are on the subject of the Australian BGT that's going to be coming up, there's been a lot of people who have been raving about Cheteshwar Pujara's reselection into the Border Gavaskar Trophy itself. Obviously, that's not happened, but Pujara continues to remain prolific with his run getting in the Ranji Trophy. He got a double century for Saurashtra. He's also crossed 21,000 runs in first class cricket, the 4th most by an Indian, and he also now holds the record for the most number of double tons in the Ranji Trophy, which is 9. They're also going to be releasing a video on Cheteshwar Pujara, and if he should have been picked for the Border Gavaskar Trophy, it's going to be dropping on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, so stay tuned.
Sticking to the BGT, Steve Smith comes back to his number 4 position, the beloved number 4 position that he apparently likes now. Usman Khawaja and Manas Labuschagne also spoke to Steve Smith, telling him that they disliked the fact that Steve Smith was opening, because when Steve Smith bats number 4, there seems to be a cushion, but when he opens, Manas doesn't feel as secure as he normally would. Now, funnily enough, with all of the shuffling going on, David Warner said that he is open to come back. He can open for Australia down under against India, except Pat Cummins on the Great Cricketers podcast just slapped it down. And it's not going to happen. Sticking to David Warner, his lifetime captaincy ban has been lifted. He had to present his case in front of 3 members earlier this month, and this week they've decided to lift his ban, and he now can be the captain of Sydney Thunders in the Big Bash League.
Last one for the Ranji Trophy news, Abdul Samad becomes the first Jammu and Kashmir batter to get twin centuries in a single first class match. And coming back down under in a domestic game where Western Australia took on Tasmania, Western Australia went from 52 for 2 to 53 all out. The match included 6 ducks and saw Bew Webster get a 6-wicket haul.
Sticking to the Australians, there was a news this week where Maxwell and Justin Langer during the 2019-20 season had a whole fight where Maxwell was advised to get a surgery on his shoulder, but Justin Langer assumed this was just an excuse for him to skip the season and go for a wedding, and they had this argument because of which Maxwell could not come back into the red ball format because of this fight made Justin Langer not want to pick Maxwell.
And of course, it's only fitting that because we started with India's losing against New Zealand, we now end it with the India A squad losing out in the semi-final against Afghanistan A in the emerging Asia Cup. And of course, Afghanistan A went on to win the Asia Cup itself.
To end this, there were rumors of the ICC meetings and what might be talked about. And there were some interesting points where the test nations will have a minimum of 3 test matches. We saw India and South Africa play only 2. This might just be increased to 3. There were also talks about how they might increase more day and night test matches in the WTC cycle. They were also going to make few changes in the ODI format where for the first 25 overs, you will have 2 new balls, after which you will only have 1 ball to bring back reverse swing and more spinners into play. All of these also wait for the captain's agreement, so they haven't confirmed these notes. But this is what we have for this week, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.